Maybe the dog's barking. It's one of those things. Hello everybody and welcome back. The live stream's about to begin momentarily, and soon I'll start answering all of your questions about VR. I've had my VR YouTube channel up for over 5 years now, and for the past 2, VR has become my full-time gig. I'm experiencing new virtual reality games every single day, and I of course love checking out the latest hardware. So if you have any questions at all about this industry, stay tuned and I promise I'll give you some answers. As a reminder, if you have a direct question for me, please use @Mateo311 down in the chat when asking. And if you want to help support this channel, go click the thumbs up right now. Now the stream will be starting soon, but in the meantime, enjoy the montage. Hello everybody and welcome back. The live stream's about to begin momentarily, and soon I'll start answering all of your questions about VR. I've had my VR YouTube channel up for over 5 years now, and for the past 2, VR has become my full-time gig. I'm experiencing new virtual reality games every single day, and I of course love checking out the latest hardware. So if you have any questions at all about this industry, stay tuned and I promise I'll give you some answers. As a reminder, if you have a direct question for me, please use @Mateo311 down in the chat when asking. And if you want to help support this channel, go click the thumbs up right now. Now the stream will be starting soon, but in the meantime, enjoy the montage. Hello everybody and welcome back. The live stream's about to begin momentarily, and soon I'll start answering all of your questions about VR. I've had my VR YouTube channel up for over 5 years now, and for the past 2, VR has become my full-time gig. I'm experiencing new virtual reality games every single day, and I of course love checking out the latest hardware. So if you have any questions at all about this industry, stay tuned and I promise I'll give you some answers. As a reminder, if you have a direct question for me, please use @Mateo311 down in the chat when asking. And if you want to help support this channel, go click the thumbs up right now. Now the stream will be starting soon, but in the meantime, enjoy the montage. Hello everybody and welcome back. The live stream's about to begin momentarily, and soon I'll start answering all of your questions about VR. I've had my VR YouTube channel up for over 5 years now, and for the past 2, VR has become my full-time gig. I'm experiencing new virtual reality games every single day, and I of course love checking out the latest hardware. So if you have any questions at all about this industry, stay tuned and I promise I'll give you some answers. As a reminder, if you have a direct question for me, please use @Mateo311 down in the chat when asking. And if you want to help support this channel, go click the thumbs up right now. Now the stream will be starting soon, but in the meantime, enjoy the montage. Hello everybody and welcome back. Hey, sorry about the delay there, guys. I was playing with some stuff. Crocs or socks and sandals? Come on, socks and sandals. Get out of here. Go away, socks and sandals. Ramvis, what are you starting? What nonsense are you starting? So, I was trying to use multi-output here and go back to Twitch, but I must have set something up wrong. We'll test it later. You know, I could test Twitch whenever. But hey, what's going on, guys? How you guys doing? Welcome. Thanks for coming and hanging out with me. It's been a few weeks since I went live, and the energy level's been slightly lower on the live stream lately. So, yeah, that's my part. I've been just like beat and tired, and it's not on you guys. But you know, this stream is for you guys. Want to hang out? So, Arlen, what's up, man? And Kavik, thanks for popping in. Kill Delta, Ramvis, always good seeing you guys. You got your first set of bifocals. Luckily, I'm still 20/20 when it comes to my eyesight, believe it or not. That clip is going to get misused. I am still 20/20, believe it or not, in my advanced age. And speaking of advanced age, Saturday is my birthday. Jimmy Great, what's up, man? What's going on? So I'm here, I'm chilling. I don't know if anything I did may be slowing down or adding more delay, but I definitely didn't go live on Twitch. It just kind of just didn't work, and I'll look at that later. But we're on YouTube, so that's all that matters. Yo, from Maryland, what's up? You're not too far, Jason. I mean, it's not super close, but it's not too far. So how you guys doing today? What is on your mind when it comes to VR? I was chatting on Blue Sky with someone who is not a VR enthusiast. They seemed very interested in AR glasses that allow you to have floating monitors to help their workflow. Yeah, that's a more mainstream appeal. Actually, I'm talking about that in a video tomorrow. And that's just like the much more mainstreamy direction that Meta wants to go into, Google XR wants to go into. They want to be your next computing platform. What's up? What's up, man? From the UK. My brother lives in the UK. He's been there for like 11, 12 years now. I haven't been there. Actually, I was in the UK 6 months ago for a day. Question: if someone invited you to make a grindcore song that would be in a VR game, would you do it? I don't know what a grindcore song is. I have no idea what that is, Jimmy. Please elaborate. I got to hear this one. I'm upset. I don't know why my Twitchy thing no go. I think, and then I got to, and then you touch the thing, and then boom, it would work. But I don't know. I mean, I can, and then click a thing, and then see what happens. But you never know. Anywho, maybe I need to put some authentication on or something. It's just a setting thing. I'm checking out the Twitch stuff that never was and never would and will not be. Yeah, it keeps like, I'm looking at it and I keep trying to push information up to Twitch and it looks like they reject me. So something must be set up wrong. Boom. Okay. Excited to play Midnight Walk. So Midnight Walk was fantastic. I finished it last week and it was fantastic, man. Really, really was. I didn't get into Out of Sight like I wanted to yesterday, but I got too busy. I got my key pretty late. Joe, what's up, man? What's going on? Do you think the floating monitor stuff has any chance mainstream? It's so funny. Like, you're second person here. You just popped in second person to mention it. Yeah, I do. Like, so just to give you an example, I got a pair of, they're not down here. I have a pair of Meta XR glasses, or the Meta Ray-Bans. You know, they're not really XR. All they have in terms of integration is audio integration. I could talk to them, it connects to my phone, I could read messages, I could have it play Google Maps to me. And even without visual cues, I find it amazing. Because like when I was in Germany and we were walking around and I wanted directions, I literally just said, you know, hey Meta, and then it used Google Maps. And then I just walked around and, you know, it told me where to turn and everything, turn by turn, walking directions. I mean, it's all the functionality of my phone, but I'm in a foreign country and I don't have to sit there and keep picking out my phone and being distracted and, you know, asking to be mugged. So it was really nice. And then I'm getting messages and I'm just like, hey, Meta, you know, read message. Hey, Meta, reply. And, you know, it's so useful. Now, if you have a screen with eye tracking in it, eye tracking is like not necessary, but if you have a screen or some discrete way to like control it easily, that's a game changer, man. You know, taking video with the Meta Ray-Bans on, like you're like, oh, when am I ever going to use that? But then when you start doing it and you realize both your hands are free and like I'm playing with my dog or playing catch or whatever, you get these really great shots that you couldn't get otherwise. So I love it. Okay. So, and in terms of work, I think it's very effective because I watch movies on floating screens all the time. Quest 3 controllers keep getting stick drift. Are they poorly made? All controllers are made like shit these days. Ever since we moved from like analog to digital, there's so many points of failure now. And I can't tell you, my Xbox controllers got stick drift. My Index controllers got stick drift. My PlayStation had stick drift. It's ridiculous. I think only my Switch is hanging on, but that's probably because it gets the least use. Let's see. Peeling flesh is grindcore and torture. Gore embrace that grind. Yeah, I don't know, man. I mean, like, yeah, I don't know about that. So I think I'll pass on the grindcore. Let's see what's going on. Let's see what Kavik one has here. I just thought of a possible negative in regards to AR glasses. When they come commonplace enough to be used to translate on the fly, do you think that will make people learn less languages? Yeah, I mean, listen, we are outsourcing our brain more and more these days. And I don't think like everything, it makes us a little bit lazier. It makes us a little bit more complacent. but it allows us to do so much more at the same time. It's double-edged. So I see it as a part of life. I see what we really need to preserve is values and like encourage people like, hey, speaking multiple languages is good. It's good for your brain. It's, it's just good for you. It's cool. It's cultural. It's historical. Those are the things we need to embrace and tell people and stand behind. But at the same time, you can't stop progress. You can't stop technology. People want it. People are going to use it. It makes life easier. Okay. Although there are only a few dedicated VR hardware competitors, do you think it will be the opposite with AR? Will there be more companies entering the market? This is like great. I mean, I'm doing a video on all this tomorrow, so I have all of this clear in my head. Yeah, we already see more AR competition. Like Google has their own OS coming out. So you have Google XR. And Apple's desperately trying to make another headset that's cheaper than, their non-consumer friendly one they have right now. Amazing headset in certain regards, but no one's buying the thing at $3,500, especially these days. And if tariffs hit it and whatever the case. So they don't want to be left behind. They want to keep their quality high, but they got to get it consumer friendly, like get most of the glass out, stuff like that, so it could be cheaper, and find what corners they can cut. So Google getting in, Samsung getting in, like a lot of different players are jumping in right now because there's two reasons. One, they either see the market growing and they see potential, or they don't want to be left behind. So yeah, I think there's way more mainstream possibility for AR than VR, for sure. But I think they're all going to help each other out. Like the VR people have been the beta testers for AR stuff for years now. We know what people like, what they don't like, what they get stan, what the average person will get into, stuff like that. It's been really helpful. But as all that technology gets better and better, it's only going to help both sides. What's that door behind you? What's up, Pro Panda Plays? That's a new name. I haven't heard it before. And since you're asking about the doors, I'm assuming you're pretty new. Yeah, so these doors, they're just a closet. We can open it up. We could come together. Follow me. Follow me, and you'll see my semi-messy closet. So there's my server rack for all my equipment, but it's really like cool equipment. It's basically a PlayStation and an Xbox, a Switch, a computer running Plex for my movie server, and then cabling goes all through the wall over to my computer here. I could set up another view for you. Now in the closet, I just have like tools and everything basic, but the doors look like this because I put my elbow through it playing VR, and I killed two birds with one stone. I fixed the door, covered up the hole, and made them look cool at the same time. So come with me. There's apparently surveillance all over this room. And if we go to the computer cam, hi. Hey, that's my backside. Yeah, so that's, you guys are looking at my back, and that's basically right next to the door. Hey, we're back. Okay. I moved all the skeletons from my closet. Nah, man, there's plenty. There's actually, you got to dig to find the skeletons. We're going to Narnia, boys. So yeah, that's the deal with the door, and they're big giant stickies, and I got them on Etsy. I took the doors down, I laid the doors down, I put the sticky on. The doors look cool. I considered many times wiring up a USB, like a little relay that would set off an alarm, like an airlock when you opened it. And I already have a light that's configured in there so that when the door opens, it could go like, murr, murr, like, from the movie Aliens, like the door. But I'm too lazy, and all it's going to do is scare my wife and kids. Cadet Grumpy, what's up, brother? How you been, man? I'm doing good. Just, drained lately. Things have been crazy, and it's a super rainy, shitty day, so a little drained lately, but besides that, living the dream. I'm working on something big, huge, but I can't talk about it just yet. How's your day going, dude? Yes, for the children, that was a Willy Wonka reference that they won't get. All right, let's see. Boom. Just checking other screens and stuff and clicking things. Oh, I don't think I did any posts that I'm live. That sometimes helps, right? Don't people like need to know that I'm live? I'll post that some places. I feel you feel that, man. Yeah. Can't wait to hear about it. So what have you been up to? If you guys don't know, Grumpy Duck is one of my buddies. He streams. He's a good dude. And you should go check him out. You should. Just said so. That's all the reason you need. What's better for PCVR? Link cable or dedicated 6E Wi-Fi at close range? Okay. It always depends. We'll get to my top 5 co-op games in a second. That'll be easy. So it always depends when it comes to your system. PC has such a smorgasbord of different components that it's very hard for me to say. Like if you have a different GPU, it's going to use a different graphical encoder depending on the software you use. Like AirLink doesn't give you a choice. Steam Link doesn't give you a choice, but Virtual Desktop will give you a choice. Allows you to dial things in. And that's like, if you need extra support, I always say go get Virtual Desktop. But for the most part, link cable is like, they break it every other day. They break link cable every other day. Meta, every other update. So I haven't used a link cable in God knows how long. If you have an ideal setup, your PC wired to a router, 6E or Wi-Fi 7, whatever the case may be, recommended to block interference, and you play close to the router, at this point, I feel the Quest 3 is a completely solid experience. I hung up my index. That's how much I believe. Look, there's the index on the wall. I hung up my index next to my award. So I hung up the index. I don't think I need a wired PC anymore. I have a PlayStation VR 2 if I really want to go wired, but the wire is annoying once you get used to not having a wire. So I think Quest 3 over what I use primarily, Steam Link, is good enough. And you don't need to get a wire. That was long-winded, but yeah, under good circumstances, because I've tried it under lesser circumstances. Under good circumstances, it's already good enough. What's your top 5 co-op VR games? Into Black is a new one. After the Fall, Arizona Sunshine, Legendary Tales, and Dungeons of Eternity. It's my top 5. How was that? I told you it'd be easy. Let's see. 15 years of VR now behind us. Is it really 15? It's like 10 consumer, 9 consumer. I believe VR is the future as long as the first hit app. So, I mean, I think VR is in some way or another going to be a part of our life forever. At this point, like, I think there's no way around it. I think that, genie's out of the bottle, cat's out of the bag, whatever you want to say. There's aspects of the technology that we will utilize forever. It's utilized in medical stuff. It's utilized for gaming. And I think there's enough love for it that it will be around in one shape or form, forever. But eventually we're going to get to the point where like there's an overlap where you want to get the glasses technology like all the way to the point of VR. And then there's no distinction, but we're probably a while out from that. Yeah, wire is not noticeable if you are a sim guy. And that's usually when I'd say, okay, go big screen or Pimax, really. Let's see. Have you tried the X-Real 1 AR glasses? I have a really old pair of N-Real glasses before they took the name X-Real. And I still love them. I still use them all the time. I have not used the newer ones. Are we finally at the monitor replacement state? Kind of. I mean, I'm yet to use a pair that's perfect that I would want to use over my monitors. But then again, though, my monitors are overkill and, it's not fair. It's not a fair comparison. But even I would say like a normal basic business monitor is more comfortable and looks better for me. For traveling, though, it's amazing. Absolutely. In my top 5, not including Demio, yeah, you're right. Demio, I just haven't played Demio in a while, and it's a bit older, and it just didn't come to mind. But yeah, Demio could definitely be in the top 5. I could probably shift a couple of those around. I'm trying to keep up with you guys. If you have a direct question, just always remember to use @Mateo311. So let's see. Cards and Tankards is great. I used to play that all the time. Haven't played it in a while. Love Cards and Tankards. See, and then there's what you get. Link is terrible on my system because usually that comes down to software. Like, it's set to use one specific encoder, but there's better encoders, and that's why Virtual Desktop works better for some people. Maybe Steam Link might be using newer encoders, whatever the case is, taking better advantage of hardware encoding. I can't say, but that's usually where the discrepancy occurs. Do you have problems finding opponents on Vestiges Fallen? I feel like my game is glitched, like no one is playing. I regret the purchase, even though it's a great game. That is kind of sad to hear, man. I haven't played in like 2 weeks. I really hope that's not the case. I hope it's not dead. What you should do is head over to their Discord. If it is dead, they're probably going to start organizing games or like try to encourage time windows. But if you're not finding anything, that's scary. And I assume you're just, you're not someone who streams or, produces content. If you are someone who streams or produces content, make sure you're not on the beta branch. Like, if you got the game early, you might still be on the beta branch. That happens on Quest all the time, and that's why you don't see it in games, and that would account for the glitch. All right, let's see. Should I upgrade to the MetaQuest 3 if I already have the original Quest 2 for 4 years? The original one with the 64 gigabytes of storage. All right. If I hope I pronounce it right, but is that Pisca? I tried. Okay. So, should you upgrade? Well, why haven't you upgraded yet is the question. Like, are you not interested in the games that are only on Quest 3 right now? Like Batman, Assassin's Creed. I think that might be Quest 2. But, some of the newer games that are only going Quest 3, Alien, Rogue Incursion, stuff like that. Do you feel like are you only using the Quest for PCVR? Like, are you bored? Do you barely use your Quest? It's a nice upgrade, but I'm just trying to target you and understand you. Is it the money? Like, what is it? Like, if you're barely using the Quest, I don't think getting a Quest 3 is going to make a huge difference. You'll play Batman because it comes with Batman, and I don't know if it's going to make a huge difference. If you're using it for PCVR and you're happy, you don't need to upgrade just yet. You could wait. Yeah, if you're looking to upgrade to reinvigorate your love of VR, I don't know if that's going to do it. All right, let's see. Do you have any recommendations of the type of chair? So you really want to use something closer to a stool when you're playing seated VR games. In the back, let's move. Follow me. I don't know how well it was to see, but if you notice in the back, I still have my Cyber Shoes stool, and something like that is ideal. No armrest, open sides, no camera really won't come down, but you don't want anything blocking even close to your sides at all, because you're going to be reaching for a gun that's on your hip or something. And if you have a deep chair, it's going to, or a wide chair, it's going to block your ability to grab certain items. So you really want a stool like that, a swivel one ideally, so you don't have to use stick turning. If you have just money coming out of everywhere and don't know what to do with it, you could get a Roto chair. And my chatbot drops some links every once in a while, so all the hardware I talk about and recommend is always in those links, so it should come up within the next 2 minutes. But the Roto chair is great because it electronically turns and can help with nausea. But it's just the best lazy man's chair for VR. The only issue is it's super expensive. So it's hard to recommend. All right, let me scroll back up, see if I can catch up with the chat a little bit. Is there any good base building open world game with tower defense mechanics? Not really. There's a few recent attempts, but nothing that really feels like a RTS game with a big open world and base building and micro control. It just doesn't. And I see someone has also mentioned the Roto VR chair, which is nice, but it's just crazy expensive. PlayStation VR 2 has been doing great lately. Arcane Age, Hitman, the Midnight Walk. I actually played through all the Midnight Walk on PlayStation because there was a weird PC bug, which I helped them solve because I have a 1%er PC and no one else saw the issue but me. But it wasn't even my PC because I tried it on a lower end PC, which we'll go to another camera for. That's my gaming area. This is where I play D&D. The white area is actually the display board. That monitor on the table is normally not there, but in the background, next to the Dungeons and Dragons poster, is my arcade, and it has a badass machine attached to it, and that's where I tested it from. And that was a 4060 Ti. Like, you know, it's a solid machine, and I had the same bug, but it was something to do with my settings and whatever. Use a yoga ball. Get that core strength up. After more than a year with Quest 3, do you think there are still less games that are taking advantage of Quest 3 capabilities? Do you think there will be more exclusives later this year? So Meta kind of forces the hand of developers for quite some time and says, oh, you're in the process of making a new game and you want your game on our platform. Oh, you have to support, you know, Quest 2. And only certain titles can get, like, you know, dispensation. What is that? You know, they could get an exemption from that. And usually it's like big name titles with an IP, Alien Rogue Incursion. And then you also have Batman. Those are, to my knowledge, the first two titles that are exclusive. But like even like Wanderer, which requires a Quest 4 to run properly, they want it on Quest 2. So it's insane. Those restrictions are definitely hurting people. And I know like something like Behemoth that holds back the PC version, the PlayStation version, because they developed for the lowest common denominator. So that's why like you're not getting bum rushed by like 18 guys on the PC version. It's like you're only fighting like 3 or 4 guys at a time because that's all the Quest could handle. Let's see. Mostly for PCVR. Okay. This is going on what you were going to get it for. I would kind of wait on the PCVR front. You know, the rumors on the ever going rumors on the Decard are getting, you know, stronger and stronger. I originally thought we'd definitely see it this holiday season. I don't know if tariffs push it back, supply chain, whatever the case is, or, you know, Valve is doing Valve stuff. Valve releases when it's ready. We also heard some brain interface stuff recently. So who knows what the heck's going on over there. So I wouldn't say wait for the Decard, but if you're in no rush, wait for the Decard. Big Screen Beyond 2, I didn't like the original. I'm waiting for the new one to kind of try it out and see if it's up to snuff. But the original just had certain things I could not get past. Yeah, a lot of those headsets are crazy expensive. It's nuts. Your favorite game on PCVR is dying. Pavlov is dying. What? Let's see. Let's see the translation of dying. Because, I mean, it's pretty amazing it lasted this long, I'll be honest with you. Tons of games got, like, absolutely destroyed. So this is Pavlov. And it's only, like, those really classic games that are still, like, you know, up and running fairly well. There's currently 170 people in game, which this is on SteamVR, which on SteamVR is very solid. All-time peak was 4 years ago with 3,000 people on. And let's kind of let's go. This is the 1 week scale. Let's go to the 1 year scale. Yeah, man, since April it's been having a weird decline. That's weird. Maybe people are just trying out a few new games. But if we go back a year, yeah, the decline really started recently, actually. March. If you go back a year, it was still like, you know, 400 people a day. Even in February, it's really solid. January, February is still very solid. You know, probably after more people bought headsets, wanted a good shooter. But right now, yeah, it's quite low. What happened? What'd they do? They screw up? I do not use ProTube, ProVolver. My experience with a lot of those, I have a new one that I'm not using that's in the background. I haven't really played with it much yet, but I have a new one that I got to mess around with. But I've had, like, I don't know, if you stick to one game, like I love Pavlov and I play Pavlov every day, then you could probably enjoy one of these types of, gun stocks. Now, one that adds force feedback is actually, sure, it's going to up the immersion a little bit, but it's probably going to make you a worse shot in multiplayer, and I wouldn't make that trade. I wouldn't up my immersion for being suckier at the game. Now, you could get better and compensate for that, and sure, maybe after like a week or two, the recoil you won't feel, and you'll be slightly better, but I doubt that. But the gun stocks, like, you got to build a muscle memory for a lot of them, so like you know exactly where you're grabbing. When a magnet doesn't clip in or something, it just really throws you off. And since I don't sit there and play like one game constantly, like I'll play a game to death and then move on, but I haven't been playing like one competitive game continuously for an extended period of time. So because of that, I never kind of get the muscle memory and I'm always frustrated. Oh, you think it's lack of updates? That's weird though, because Contractors Exfil and even like Ghost of Tabor, but I know people are annoyed with Ghost of Tabor right now too. So yeah, I can do it. It's but just think about it, man. Like almost nothing else in VR has lasted that long, and you still got tons of people in Pavlov, tons. It's sad when but we've had launches of like full AAA paid games have worse numbers than that lately. So the industry is just berserk. Let's see where what else did I want to look up? Not Pavlov. What else should we look up some numbers on? I know population 1 is going to be horrible because no one plays it on PC. There's 20 people in game. Nice. I guess we can look up, like comp. But these are SteamVR stats and they mean nothing, to be honest. In the grand scheme of VR. Contractors Exfil. Well, yeah, Exfil's actually got quite a lot of people on right now. Look at that. They have over 300 people on. Good on them. And not much drop off. All right. There you go. The more you know. Use your mind like a gun stock. Let's see them VR chat numbers. VR chat has 72 billion people. No, it has 35,000 people in right now. And the 24-hour peak was about 44,000. And it's close to their all-time peak. Not far off from their all-time. That's insane. Holy shit. VR chat has not slowed in the least. So, I mean, it might make sense that we're seeing a drop off right now because we're entering the warm months. This is always a period of time where people do slow down in VR. So, I mean, because other games are seeing that same type of, high peak in January and then drop off. You got the new players who just got into VR. They got a VR set for Christmas. And sure, there's a drop off. But the numbers, holy crap, VR chat is still killing it. Even with their controversial, we are selling our avatars now. Damn. Okay. So I can shed some light on why sales are hard to predict. Most of the meta games, you can actually get all of them for free. Don't tell no one, though. We're not going to be discussing that. I mean, but piracy's been around forever, guys. If you really try hard enough, you can get anything digital for free. Let's see. With the new upscale textures in HL2, do you think the VR mod will get a texture upgrade soon? I'm not sure. I'm not sure if they're like, if there's any aspect of those two components that could conflict and break something. So if it seems likely, it seems very doable, but there's still a few things I don't know, so I can't really comment. I'm speculating. Let's see. A lot of people say that too. They're like, oh, I'm only playing VR mods. Those are the people who were usually OG PCVR and just like never gave Quest a try. And I'm not saying that's right or wrong. It is a downgrade, but there's still lots of great stuff to experience on Quest. Let's see. Tonics, we're going to have to stop that chat. Okay. That stuff is done. We move on. Don't ask them questions. We're moving on. All right. VR chat's not my cup of tea. So, Angry, I'm with you there too. It was never like my style. I was never really into VR chat. And there have been occasions where I've just been like, all right, this is really cool. I get it. You know, if I had more free time, if I didn't have a family and kids and I wasn't so busy, I could spend a few hours a day in here at the end of the day and put on my headset, hang out with a bunch of people, you know, even do full body tracking, fool around, pretend to dance, whatever. I could get into that if I had spare energy, but I'm old. I'm in my 40s. I'm about to be a year older this week. So I'm going to be more in my 40s. Going off a cliff soon. And yeah, I just don't have the energy for it. Spark was a long time ago, Preston. Damn, son. Let's see, but that was one that I had to look up a while back because people were like, Spark, PlayStation. And I'm like, I never played that. There were some early PlayStation titles and I never got around to, and some early Rift titles I never got around to. A lot of things I did go back and look into, and they were great, but some not so much. So the Quest Optimizer is one of these things where people are just like, oh, it's a must-have. Other people are like, no, it's total crap. My battery dies in 45 minutes, and I'm running games at like 50 frames per second. It's software. It's going to be hit and miss. What I always stop and say, the developers dialed in the experience to what they think is right. And I'm going to trust their judgment over a third-party app. Now, it's nice to have the option. If you're someone who likes to tweak settings, all for it. I was that type of person when I was young, but that's a young man's game. See these grays? Old man's game. What do you think What do you think Valve's main focus will or should be with the Decard, standalone or PCVR? I think Meta has shown that standalone is the way forward. I also believe with the success of their Steam Deck, that it's gonna, standalone is gonna be a major focus. And I believe that we're gonna get like a Steam Deck with a screen, basically. The controllers are made to be more like this, more standardized for flat screen gaming. They'll work fine in VR, but they're gonna be like this, more standardized for flat screen gaming. It's gonna work for flat screen games. So it'll be really nice. You can, travel around, have like the performance of like a Steam Deck Plus, play all your flat games. That headset is the handheld is surprisingly powerful. I've been playing like even newer games on it, like Path of Exile and also Helldivers, run on it, which is pretty crazy to think. Now, if you have that and a travel option, I would say my biggest complaint with the Steam Deck, I'm pretending this is my Steam Deck right now, is the fact that the screen is too small. And there's some games that are hard to play because you just can't see well enough. Maybe it's an old man problem. But if I had the screen here and it's a 3D screen or just, a nice, virtual screen, then it would be the best of both worlds. And that's what I'm hoping for. What if scenario? If Microsoft acquires Valve, how will this impact their VR product? If Microsoft, Valve is private to the best of my knowledge. And the only way Microsoft could acquire them would have to be Gaben and whoever else is, running the place as to say, yeah, sure, you can buy us. And I don't see that happening. But let's play the what if game. Oh, Cybler, I could pass for 24. Thank you for lying to me. That'll be the best birthday gift I get this year. Okay. What if scenario? It would suck. you would see like all of Valve's games come to Game Pass. They would monopolize the market more. They'd probably mess up Steam, and who knows if they would even consider pushing VR forward. I really want Valve to focus on flat to VR. Well, that relationship would be reversed. It would have to be flat to VR getting their foot in the door with Valve. But you're just saying I want them, want them to work together, or have, I want flat to VR to have Valve-based projects. That'd be awesome. Yeah, but you have to understand, flat to VR probably has another year and a half of proving themselves before any big players are gonna, really consider working with them. They got to prove themselves. They probably have to go through like one major hurdle where people go, and then they have to come out of it, and people will go, oh, okay, they can handle their shit. I believe in them. I have high hopes. Okay. Is there any software that can adjust the pointing angle of the controllers on the Quest 3? So, if you're using the Quest 3 on PC, sure. If you're using a Quest 3 natively, not that I'm aware of. And this is a question people have asked before, and I got some emails from some people, and they asked, and they said, like, the controller seems slightly tilted or whatever. I'm not experiencing that. I know other people are. I haven't looked into it because I have no need for it. Oh, so you're saying you could tweak it from the Meta developer app? I have a developer app, but I've never played with that. Micro OLED screens will be great as long as we don't suffer with high persistence, because I rather an LED with low persistence than an OLED any day of the week. High persistence screen it could bring me to the point of nausea. Like, they're horrible. The PlayStation is not great. The AVP, yeah. AVP is a beautiful screen, but when you move your head, nope. Tonics, you're 42 and feel good? Good for you. I feel 65. How about that? I'm doing all right. I'm in good shape. I work out all the time. I just, I want to be able to do more than I can. That's the kicker. The controller pointer impacts the use of gun stocks. Again, not my favorite thing. So what I mean by flat to VR is some kind of layer to play flat games in 3D on the Decard. Yeah, I don't know. If they were going to pursue something like that, Valve would do it in-house. That's my opinion. Can't wait for Zero Caliber on PlayStation VR 2. Yeah, I mean, listen, the game's doing quite well now. I was actually talking to someone about it recently on their team. Let's see. Oh, so you're saying they're making an offset on the newer gun stocks? You also got to make sure if you're using a Quest 3 with an older gun stock, the Quest 3, unlike the Quest 2, has an IR emitter like down here in the base of the controller somewhere. Your hand would cover that. But I know there's somewhere maybe on the side. There's an IR emitter on the bottom of the controller, and gun stocks that are made for the Quest 2 will cover that, which can impact your tracking. I've heard people complain that like they get occlusion issues like when they're aiming, and it's probably that reason. Original Half-Life dropped on SideQuest. It looks 3D, and I want to play it soon. I've played Half-Life on the SideQuest version. So you take the PC version. It's basically just the engine, and then you download the files from the PC version onto your Quest, and you play the original game, and it's fantastic. I played through the entire game on my, Quest 2 at the time, before Half-Life Alyx launched. It was incredible. It was great. I'm not gonna beat myself up, dude. It's one of those things. I've always wished I could be better. I always wished I could do more. I always wished I could be stronger, faster, smarter. Whatever the case is. As you get older, you got to deal with that's not the case, you know. I may have peaked physically, athletically, maybe, you know, in your 40s, usually the case. But doesn't mean there's not plenty of things I get better at, learn new stuff, and just be awesome. So, yeah, doing my thing. Old school Casper. I wouldn't say it's better than the first time, but it's up there, man. It's really solid replaying that. But this is what I say, like, that it's not a great VR game. It's just a great game. And it's just a different method of playing a great game. There's not many aspects of it that make it like that push the VR section of it. You're just seeing the game from a new angle and still enjoying a great game. But I will say, like, recently playing through the Midnight Walk, I played it on PlayStation VR 2 and PC flat, and I noticed very different things on each playthrough. Like, the creatures are just way more terrifying in VR. And there were certain moments that just got me way more, but there were certain aspects that had a much bigger impact on flat. You know, because you're back, you're not really backed out, but you're not behind the character's eyes. So your FOV is wider than it really should be. So you kind of see things that, you know, just your focus is redirected. Check your testosterone levels. So, Cybler, I actually have a mild genetic disorder. So I get blood tests every 3 or 4 months, and I check everything. So I'm fine for now. It has been lowering over the years, such is life, but I'm fine right now. And if anything changes, I'll address it. Firewall Ultra, man. Yeah, that sucked, man. Now, I heard they, you know, kind of Sony put their thumb on the scale and said, no, you got to release your game now. We need more content. I heard that secondhand. So that studio told another studio, and that studio told me. I don't know what's true. Because, you know, they did get money from Sony to help produce it as a launch game for the PlayStation VR 2. And apparently they weren't ready, and Sony said, we don't care. You could patch it over time. But no. Well, Tonix, that's great. You know, long-time follower. I really appreciate that. Everybody else here, guys, I really appreciate you. I usually, you know, stop, take a minute, and tell the whole stream, you know, how much you guys mean to me. I wouldn't be here if it wasn't for you guys supporting me. It's crazy, like, when someone randomly drops money, I'm like, I'm just a dude on the internet talking about something I care about, trying to educate people, entertain people, and you guys throw money at me. That I always find that weird. But it's, you know, it's just cool to, you know, have a hobby that I can share with people. That's one thing I love. That's the most important part to me. And I just want to see this grow. This is great. Just finished Medal of Honor Above and Beyond. Wow. Just wow. That game is amazing. All right. So we're going to fight, man. So I could see you put a Midnight Walk on your top 10, but Medal of Honor is slow. And it is, well, I mean, I played it in the beginning and it had a bunch of other issues, but it is slow, and it really was not like developed with VR in mind. You can see that Respawn didn't have much VR experience. They do a lot of things that at this point in time, you just don't do in VR anymore. Like taking the player and just making them stand in place and watch people talk to each other is obnoxious in VR. Like it's just not how you deliver a story in VR. You need to utilize environmental storytelling. It's not the same as playing a game while sitting on your couch. It's not console gaming. So that's a mistake like I see developers do constantly. I don't know. There were just so many issues with it that like I just felt like the pacing was like, oh, this is kind of cool. Oh, this sucks. Why am I sitting around? And then there was this really weird contrast with Medal of Honor trying to be like, there were articles coming out like, well, we got to be careful that we don't make it too real because we don't want people playing this VR game and, you know, getting shell shocked. That's what we used to call PTSD. So we don't want people coming out with PTSD. And it's like, okay, yeah, the technology's crazy, yada, yada, yada. Then you play the game and it's almost like Inglourious Bastards. It was a really, it was Inglourious Bastards, but then you're slowly unlocking a documentary about World War II, which is super serious in tone. The contrast was just night and day, and then the multiplayer died up in 8 seconds. So no Medal of Honor for me. Will we get more Resident Evil games in VR? Okay, so I want to say yes, and it is very possible we will see more Resident Evil games in VR. However, Resident Evil 8 was not developed with VR in mind. Capcom has stated this. They said, we made the game. We weren't thinking about VR. We weren't planning VR. We didn't put anything in the code, to later utilize VR. We made a flat game. And then Sony said, listen, Resident Evil 7 was awesome in VR. People want more of that. To my understanding, I believe Sony paid $5 million to get the RE4 remake ported over. And then if you look at the numbers of sales, even though they've recently popped up, we're talking 250,000 people maybe played it in VR. And when you run those numbers, probably wasn't worth it for Sony. It's borderline. They probably made a little money, but not a lot of money. And you would say, well, if it's profitable, why don't they just keep doing it? Because you could utilize your money better. It's a business. If you could do this new endeavor, VR, porting a game, 5 million, make 5%. Okay, fine. 5% is nice. Or you could do traditional route, less question marks, more straightforward, and make a 10% return. Easier investment, whatever the case may be. They're going in that direction. So it's just business. But I think it's kind of like a staple at this point, and I think enough people would get annoyed if they don't do it. So it's still very likely. I love how I always have a long-winded answer that comes back to maybe, because there's so many, for me to just put a stamp yes or no is impossible. There's too many factors. Why not release it on Steam after all this time? Are we talking about Resident Evil, or are we talking about Medal of Honor? Medal of Honor was originally on Steam 1,000 years ago. And I went to stream it, and it crashed 7 times. Muhan. Do I think Muhan will come out this year? Maybe. I'm not following the hardware as much. I really believe that, so when you're dealing with a hardware company, you're going to have higher prices because those companies need to make money on hardware sales. Just like HTC headsets are twice the price of a Meta headset. But Meta can make up a lot more of their money on Metastore sales, which they do. I mean, they're at this point, they're like, yeah, give your game away for free and do paid cosmetics, and we'll take a nice chunk of that and everyone will be happy. So, I mean, they can really get away with subsidizing their hardware. They got cash to burn. They're one of the biggest companies in the world. But for other people, they can't do that. And you got to make money on the hardware, and that's why you need margins. I mean, even Valve and HTC originally were butting heads, and Valve's like, no, you got to get the price down. And HTC's like, we need to make money. We're not giving this away for free. So let's see. What is the best way to stream movies on the Quest for best quality? Virtual desktop? So if you want to stream movies at this point, you could most things will work right through the browser. So you go to Netflix, and Prime has an app. A lot of Hulu has an app. You could use the native apps, because here's the thing. I mean, unless you have really shitty Wi-Fi, you're going to stream to your PC, then stream to your headset. No, cut out a middleman. Stream directly to the headset. And that should be the best way to get quality. You could also copy video files onto your headset. Now, that's not streaming, but if you're traveling and you're going to be on an airplane or something, you could copy video files onto the headset. Did you hear GTA 6 cost more to build than okay. So I can imagine. All right. GTA 6 is 10 years in development. 10 years in development with a studio the size of God knows. Let's see how many people work at Rockstar. Rockstar studio size. They have more than 2,000 people. That's pretty massive. The development for GTA 5 involved over 1,000 people. So you have to pay the salary of 1,000 people for 9 years. And sure, the number of people working on it will go up and down over those years. But let's say the salary of 500 people for 9 years. That's insane. That's absolutely insane. And if you go back to something like Star Wars: The Old Republic, that was one of the most expensive games at its time. It was like $150 million. That was what, 20 years ago? Now we have games like Horizon blew up. So Horizon Forbidden West, that blew up to like $250 million. That's like that 200 number is starting to become commonplace. And then when you're looking for a bigger endeavor, yeah, you could go way beyond that. So I could only imagine how much they've spent. If you have movie files on your PC, you could set up any type of streaming app. Like there are I'm trying to think what's the best way to go about it. Like I have Plex set up, so that's what I'm always using. So I just access Plex from my headset and I can watch whatever's on my PC. But I don't know if that's the easiest route to go. It's fairly easy. I do not have an Insta360 camera, no. It's never something that really interests me, but these days are odd because I'll be like, I have no interest in that, no interest in that. And someone gives me the product to play with, and then I'm sold. Like, I had no interest in the Ray-Ban Metas. And then after I started using them, I was like, holy shit, I love these. You swap from Plex to Jellyfin. I know my Plex server is like 1,000 years old. There you go. There we go. We're putting our heads together. It's funny because there are a lot of use cases for the technology, but, they vary, which show that it's becoming a more mainstream device. Like people use their Quest to just chat with people. People use their Quest to go to social things. People use it for exercise. I use it mostly for just playing some cool video games. NVIDIA Shield, I never used one. I felt like it was just like a little bit too much. But it is what it is. Like it always felt like it was just like overkill. I didn't need it. Like the hardware version I'm talking about. So I swear Plex doesn't need port forwarding anymore. But that's also, you're going to be internal. I mean, if you want to access... Plex now charges if you're outside your own house, which is annoying. Ways around it, whatever. But Plex now charges if you're outside of your house. But if you're going to be streaming in your house, there's no port forwarding to worry about. It's all internal. That's all LAN. Yeah, recently I went to watch something on my Plex server while I was at the gym, and it was just like, you need a $2 a month membership. And I was like, how about eat me? Will the Decard help PCVR grow? A little bit. Not. So listen. Even though Valve has so much love and respect, and people are dying for their new headset, price is obviously going to be a massive consideration. There's an expense there. Not a ton of people are going to buy it. They're also not someone who could like super mass produce. What did they sell in the Steam Decard? What did they sell? 200,000 to maybe 400,000? I'm just trying to remember off the top of my head. But they did very well. But we're not talking console numbers. We're not talking 10, 20, 30 million or 50 million, 150 million if you go to like the Wii and, you know, some of the best all-time sellers. So is it going to help PCVR? Sure. Is it going to be a significant help? No. Unless it like really, really flips the script and all of a sudden SteamVR games run like a dream standalone. Like then I could see other people wanting to get into that game and then the price eventually coming down and it helping a lot over time, but not immediately. No. So virtual desktop works great for me. It's just inconvenient to use. I want streaming home server, like you said. Yeah, it is a little inconvenient to use. I agree with you there. Yeah, go with that. Set up a streaming home server. I mean, so look at unless, you know, like, unless they super support it, like come out with like an orange box and new products and really cool new demos and it's like mind blowing. It's hard to say. Like Half-Life Alyx had an impact. It had a serious like overnight style of impact, but we would have needed a banger like that like every 4 to 6 months to like keep PCVR growing. And there was no money. No, like we would need some company burning millions, you know, every 4 to 6 months to make these games. And they would have had to start a long time ago before Half-Life Alyx to keep them coming out. So it would never get the momentum we needed. Game conservation is now a hot topic. Some publishers are making old games unavailable. I fear that playing older VR titles will be nearly impossible in the future unless someone develops VR emulators. I don't know. Like, you might be right because once the OS changes a little bit, there's a good chance that these older games won't run anymore. At the same time, though, at the base level, we're either dealing with, you know, Steam x86 architecture or we're dealing with Android. And those should be stable for quite some time. So when things start, like, everything will break, not just VR games. Like, it'll be, okay, we go to a new Android OS, older regular games will break, and VR games will break. And it'll be up to developers to kind of keep them up to snuff. That's what I think. So like a DOS game doesn't work on Windows anymore, or a Windows 95 game. Sometimes you get them to work, you know, little tricks here and there. But for the most part, the architecture, even though the baseline is the same, it has changed to a point where it doesn't work anymore. But emulating VR sounds like a terrible idea. You know, I'm sort of a scientist myself. Blade Runner is your all-time favorite movie. The original? I don't want to start any fights. I'm going to keep my mouth shut. Do you know that Half-Life was originally written as a, like, kind of like a fan version of a prequel to The Mist? Now, if you ever read the book The Mist or saw the movie, there's some sort of government experiment. The whole planet gets covered in mist, and then there's monsters everywhere. That was kind of like when they made Half-Life. They were visualizing Half-Life as the incident that caused the monster incursion. So, like, that was the storyline that inspired it. Just a bit of knowledge for you. Yeah, Marco, you here too late. Nah, it's all good, man. We'll hang out for a little bit longer. See, Kavik. See. That's why I like you, man. We're on the same level. Gotta slap a voodoo card. Oh my god, voodoo cards. Know what I just thought of? For EverQuest. Commonly known as EverQuest. Yeah, I gotta get my voodoo card, man. Slap it in the machine. And then I can play the first ever 3D MMO. the most unforgiving game that wants to suck the soul right out of you. You just hit level 3 by killing rats. You're awesome. Oh no, a rat bit your leg off. You died. You're back to level 2. And now go retrieve your corpse because it has all your equipment. I don't care how far you are. I don't care if you have to run for 30 minutes and drag your corpse back to town to loot it in safe area. I don't care. That game pulled no punches. I end the stream at 3:30. So I'll be here for another 20 minutes or so. That's usually when I stream. Sound Blaster card. No, I sold it. I was going to say, I think I have a Sound Blaster card, but I got rid of it recently. Yeah, I sold it. I had a 7-channel Sound Blaster Extreme stream. Wait, we need some effects for that. Okay. Let's do a little reverb here, a little echo, right? I'll keep my pitch normal.
Sound Blaster Extreme. Yeah, I didn't have to say extreme.
Because the effects didn't. All right. Are you playing now on PC? Are you playing now? I could always play on PC. Am I playing on PC? What am I playing on PC? Who is playing on PC? That's me. I'm playing Doom right now. Not gonna lie, Doom is crack. How good are those doors, right, man? But yeah, I'm playing Doom right now. I'm almost done with it, and I'm like, the last 2 levels, they tell you what percentage of secrets you found. Back to back, 98%. And I was like, all right, this game is just giving me blue balls at this point. It's teasing me, man. What am I playing now on PC? So I answered that, but what am I playing recently in VR? I finished the Midnight Walk. I was just about to start Out of Sight. I've just been really busy this week. I do want to play. There's a new version. I don't know if I'm allowed to mention that, so I'll skip that one. And I'm playing something else super secret that I can't talk about. I'm hoping in a month or so I'm going to have a story for you guys, and it's going to be huge. But I don't have it right now. What was your first headset? I bought in June of forever ago. I got the HTC Vive. It was my first headset. I didn't look at any reviews. I pre-ordered it. It was literally the first thing I put in this house. This house was still under construction. This basement wasn't fully done, and I installed. And I kid you not, I literally went to my contractor who was working on the house and some of the guys working on the house. And I was like, come downstairs. I want to show you something. And I was showing these guys VR. I kid you not. That was my first experience with VR. I was just blown away by like the freaking tutorial. And then when you get into like from then I've had like 18 headsets at this point. And Doom takes it, like the new Doom is the best of the old and new. I love, like, I was built for that game. Like I see some people saying like, oh, it's hard. Where are the attacks coming from? What's going? I'm like, what's wrong with you, man? Lock in, focus. Like I mean, I think when my age, people weren't stimming because they were playing Doom. Like Doom is just one big stim. It's amazing. I love it. I will like what's the term for it? Like swipe turn like on a dime at like 30 miles per hour. I just love the doosh, 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 doosh. Like it's just pure empowerment. It is everything I look for, and the combat is just it's fantastic. Let's see. I'm not going through. Who's coming down here? Okay, you can come. You gave them the get good, bro. It's weird because also a similar scenario, like when Path of Exile, and I'm not like some hardcore gamer. When I was younger, I was really good, and I was in some competitive matches for shooters. But now I've kind of aged out, and I don't really play shooters as much, competitive shooters anymore. But getting into Doom, that's the type of game I grew up on, and it's just like I relate to it, that type of pace. But when you go to like Path of Exile 2 came out, which I never played the original, and ARPGs really weren't my style, but I wanted to try it, and I fell in love. And people are like, oh my God, this is the Dark Souls of ARPG games. And I'm like, no, it's not. I'm like, I'm yet to find a boss that I can't bitch slap. Like every once in a while I come across a boss who'd like kill me 2 or 3 times in a row. And either I'd be frustrated and go level up a little bit more and come back, or I would just try like 3 more times and beat him. So like it was not Dark Souls. Dark Souls is unforgiving and like not exactly my style. That's the type of game that gets me to rage quit. But not Path of Exile. Give me a break. I am working on a VR game with UE myself, and want to see. I want to see Half-Life to see what a good. So you got to play Half-Life. I mean, but here's the thing: you can't copy Half-Life because 70% of what makes Half-Life good is production value. Like it's not the best storytelling. It's probably the best graphics, which goes hand in hand with production value usually. Because the things that are expensive are animation and artwork. They're really expensive. You got to pay those people. It's not easy stuff. And then they know how to make a good game. They've been making good games forever. But like in terms of storyline, how do they get around that whole I was complaining about like, oh, you can't just sit there and have someone talk to you and it's boring in VR when you lock someone in place. They don't lock you in place. They give you little things to play with. They hide things in a joke. Like, oh, he throws the gun down, you know, it's like, don't worry, it's unloaded. And it fires, and he's like, now it's unloaded. So like they can keep telling storyline, they break it up with some jokes and stuff. So you could say, yeah, that's good writing. But it's not deep writing, if that makes sense. So let's see. Unreal 2004. I think Unreal Tournament was in the 90s, and that one I preferred more. I played PoE 1 and 2, fist punched Hillock because I didn't know what was happening. Same thing with the first boss in PoE 2. I couldn't get into the game though. Not my cup of tea. Like, I don't know, man. Like, I guess that was another type of game with old school development mentality or something. Like, people like, oh my God, the leveling tree is so like overwhelming, and I don't know how to make my character. All I did when developing my character, like, I went with okay, I'm gonna go glass tanky, and I was playing the mercenary, and then I went into like whatever it is, witch hunter. So I was playing that, and I'm just like, okay, I'm gonna take anything that gives me more damage, and then as I leveled up, if I was running out of mana, I take a skill that gave me more mana or mana, replenishment. If I noticed that I was getting one-shotted, I would either up my armor or whatever my best skill in that scenario was, up my dodge rate. So, so even if I do get hit, it only takes me down to like, 10%, not 100%. So just little number tweaks. And I built a really strong character, and I had no problem playing through the game. Modern Warfare 2 was probably when I was at the peak of my Call of Duty days. I was badass back in the day. Call of Duty started as a PCVR exclusive. PC exclusive. I used to run a LAN room, and every Sunday night, all my buddies would pile in, and we'd play until like 3, 4 in the morning. And I was undefeated in like 1,000 games, so it was great. Currently working on 3 projects. Nice. I have a cool project idea I'd love to do from mixed reality, interestingly enough. Yeah, no, I wouldn't expect you to make a copy of Half-Life Alyx. Anyone who attempts to do that is just pure crazy. I'm just saying, like, it's probably not the best source of what to do right. It does a lot right, but a lot of what makes it great is production value. There's other games you might be able to source from that, have more sticky components or better features or bang for your buck, rather. Remember when you didn't have to already know how to min-max an RPG and learning was the fun? Yeah, if the game requires you to min-max to play through it and enjoy it, then it's broken. There has to be a nice range where, like, if it's not multiplayer, you could let players do whatever the hell they want. Let them build a character that's so ridiculous, overpowered, whatever the case may be. But, like, you know, that's one thing that always killed me with MMOs. And the only one that I really stuck to for years was SWTOR, Star Wars The Old Republic. I played that for years. But what got annoying was when you got max level and maxed out, then it was get max equipment, and every build was the same. Like, everyone was striving for the exact same build, and you had the exact same sequence of attacks. And I ran a bounty hunter, so that was my main. And I ran a bounty hunter, and it was literally like, like you had the muscle memory for the sequence of attacks, so you don't build up too much heat, and then you exhaust your heat in like a super attack, and you just rinse and repeat. And I know that's MMOs, but you're not like, you just strip the whole role playing out of, you know, RPG game. You're supposed to take on a role. Like, it's not supposed to be a predefined role. It's not like, okay, try to become the one. It's like, you want to make the role you want to be. You want to have like your own tricks and style. So yeah, I was pretty frustrated with MMOs for the longest time. Because when MMOs first started popping up, I was already a D&D player. So you're thinking D&D online. That's what you're thinking. But then you get into these games and you realize they are pigeonholed and restricted so much more than D&D can ever be. And then not only that, they now moved into their own unique mechanics that go further away from the spirit of D&D. Like, MMOs eventually became the trinity. You have the tank, the healer, and the DPS. And it's just a combination of math. I can take the hits, I can deal the hits, I can heal the damage. And it's just a combination of math and doing the math in the right order. And then you win. It wasn't the whole essence of what made D&D so great. Like, battles had to play out this way. And there was only one way to win. And you just had to be, you know, you had to be locked in, do your sequence of keys, CC when you need to, attack primary targets, you know, don't pull mobs, and keep it up at the right rate. You know, don't slip up. It's not an RPG. They're just MMOs. They're not MMORPGs anymore. Ranting for the win. Let's see. And it's fine if you like that type of game. It's just never what I expected it to become and never what I was looking for. I don't think Streamlabs decided to chat today and drop you guys some links. Womp, 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 womp. But does my
Echo voice work?
Okay. Let's see. Duty type, except it's a real video camera on my first 2 Halo lens from C3. There is the VR party game. What? Okay. I'm like jumping into an ongoing conversation. That's why I'm confused. Anyway, then they start diluting even those Trinity identities with giving everyone heals and sustain. Yeah. I mean, I understand you want to change up the formula. You want to add some new aspects, but it's tough. Yeah, bring on the old school. That's like, I think why Oblivion connected so well with people too is because it had a bunch of older mechanics that people aren't used to. And people kind of like, you know, gravitated towards it. Like, oh, this feels new, but it's really old. Red Matter, Half-Life, and Into the Radius are great examples. So I assume you're going on the shooter side or something a little bit more sci-fi-y. They're great examples of what VR can do. Red Matter 2 is beautiful. I would also recommend Vertigo, like especially if you're interested in the whole half-like style of game, because Vertigo 2 is a half-like, so is Vertigo 1. And that developer does a lot of like cool stuff. Excuse me. I'm not here to crap on MMOs. They're just like, they never turned into what I wanted nor expected. And they branched off into their own thing, which is fine. And if you grew up around that, you probably have a greater love and appreciation than I do. But they've always kind of, unless like the social aspect was there, I never felt them really intriguing. I'd probably say the only reason why SWTOR held my attention for so long is I enjoyed the storyline actually. And I wanted to see the storyline of like all the different characters. And knowing how each character played helped in the PvP also, which I did enjoy, like Hut Bowl, and they had a few different PvP elements in it, which I did enjoy. But then it got, oh, I got to do my dailies. I was at work, like doing my dailies on the side. And I got so like used to doing them that my dailies would take like 12 minutes eventually. Like I know every corner to cut. It's like, that is work. That's not a game anymore. I missed the Final Fantasy 14 VR mod. It got patched out. That sucks. But I never really enjoyed those games. Like, for me, it's a novelty. I'm not going to play them in VR. So it's cool to see the game from that aspect, but it's a novelty. I'm not going to sit back and play the game because at some point it's going to be broken. At some point it's going to piss me off. At some point it's going to stop my progression. It's going to limit me in some factor. The controls are going to be screwed up, whatever the case may be. So it's not really for me. Will the DLC come to PSVR 2? I don't know. Usually that stuff comes down to how well it's sold on its first platform. And then the developer can make the decision if it's worth it or not. That's usually how those things work. All right, guys, we are getting near the point where I wrap things up. So let me get that link that I've mentioned 100 times. And this is the point in the stream that if you guys have not been following me, you follow, because you're like, hey, this guy's pretty cool. I've been hanging out with him. He answers my questions. I think he's a decent dude. You could follow me. You could do that. That works out. The other thing you guys can do is you could give this video a thumbs up. That really helps the algorithm. Tells people that you like me. It's also my birthday, so now you're required to do it. And I'm just gonna get that link for you guys before you head out. Don't. I see you. Move away from that X. All right, let me get the thing. The thing is on the thing. I'm getting it. All right, this is an affiliate. Follow equals subscribe. Right, follow, subscribe, click, do the thing. Whatever. I'm not asking for your money, okay? Your money's appreciated. I do this for a living. And every one of those dollars will be used to help feed my starving young children. However, no, I'm just messing with you guys. All right, I'm gonna drop my affiliate link here. It's not all affiliate stuff, guys. But I'm gonna drop this link. This is like all current sales that are going on. Whenever I see something, I update this list. This is all my affiliate links. So if you're looking for any hardware, this is hardware I recommend. Whenever there's a discount code, it's listed there. So I got codes from like 5 to 20% off. Every once in a while, like, Roto VR chair, $50 off and a free copy of a game. So there's stuff there. Some are affiliate, some aren't. And even if like I have my top 10 games on here, which also I started updating with like my YouTube videos. So if you're like, oh, I never heard of that game, my YouTube videos there too. So I'm just trying to make it easy for you guys to find some cool stuff, some cool games, some cool hardware. All that's there, guys. And like I said, if I have discount codes, I'll always drop them. I'm way slower to copy my affiliate. Like if you follow me on Quest, my friend codes, which give you 20% off to like the first 3 people, and then it drops down to 10% or something. I'm always slow to get those updated only because it's such a pain in the ass. It really is such a pain in the ass to get those links, to generate those links. Which one is the stool? So unfortunately, the stool that I use came from Cyber Shoes, which is discontinued. However, the chair that I mentioned is the Roto VR chair, but that one's way overpriced. So just look, honestly, just go on Amazon and look for a stool with a back, a stool with a low back, not high. You want the low back for support. You don't want it too high because then if you gotta grab things, it'll get in your way. But it just stool, no sides, low back, swivel. That's all you need. You remember me from years ago. Well, and you think I deserve 300,000K subscribers? Well, that sucks. It sucks that I don't have those. But guys, that is today's stream. I hope you guys enjoyed it. I was supposed to go live on Twitch, but that no worky. So I'll try and figure that out later. And yeah, thanks for hanging out with me, guys. I really appreciate it. Things are going good for VR. I have a video dropping tomorrow. I'll drop that link one more time. And thank you guys again. I'm going to be logging out in just a second. So have a good day, guys. Thank you for chilling with me. Check out my end screen. And that was today's stream, guys. Thank you so much. I wouldn't be here without you. You guys mean the world to me. I hope I did a good job answering all of your questions. And if you want to help support me, the easiest ways are always to leave a comment, throw a thumbs up, subscribe, or if you're one of those crazy people who likes to burn money on me, why not use one of my affiliate links for a discount on some accessories? Maybe become a Patreon or YouTube member. And finally, I have a merch shop with items that no one has ever bought before. Again, thanks for hanging out, guys, and of course, I'll see you on next time.